Hey, do you want to have your most impactful year ever? Do you want to play bigger than you've ever played? Do you want to have the biggest momentum that you could ever have? Well, if you do, you need to pay attention to what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you the 5 power moves that you need to make before January. Now, the reason why I'm giving it to you today, because I want you to understand something. Most impactful, mission-driven executives, the people who have the biggest impact on their organization, they don't wait until the calendar flips to start planning their year. They don't drift through December and land into January and think they're going to get momentum. It doesn't work like that. You actually have to plan earlier than everybody else. You got to plan with the end in mind. And so to plan with the end in mind, you got to start in December. You got to start at the end of the previous year to plan the next year. And so I want to have a conversation with you for a few minutes about the 5 power moves that are going to give you extremely focus and momentum into the new year. Like, you really want to have an impact in your organization, you need to do these 5 things in December. It's what I call the blueprint, the end of the year blueprint for mission-driven executives. This is just a part of it. These 5 power moves are a part of it. And if you stay with me the next couple of weeks, I'm going to show you how you can download a copy of my year-end blueprint for mission-driven executives. The reason why I put this together is because I want you to stop playing small. I want you to stop trying to hide in plain sight. I want you to get the respect that you deserve. I want you to get the promotional opportunity that you deserve, the money, power, and the respect that you want and deserve. You got to get all of those, but you can't get them without momentum. And you can't get momentum without moving. And if you want the maximum momentum, then you need to make the maximum moves in December. That's why I'm calling this session the 5 power moves that you need to make before January. You got to do them before the clock strikes 12 on 12/31/25 at the end of this year. So let's jump right into the 5 power moves. The first one is called the leadership reality check. Now, when I say leadership reality check, you got to be honest with yourself, because you can't make power moves if you're starting on unstable ground or untruthful ground. So here's what I mean, the leadership reality check. You got to do a checkup from your neck up, and you got to ask yourself some honest questions about how you led this year. Think back all 52 weeks or 50 weeks, wherever we are at this point. How did you show up as a leader? Like, when things were going on throughout the year, where did you hesitate? Where did you stumble? Where did you avoid conflict? And where did you not use your strategic insights to help the organization? I'm going to say those again. Where did you hesitate? Like, was there something that you hesitated to do, that you knew you should have gotten it done, but you didn't get it done, and you decided to try to push it under the rug? Or did you avoid conflict at a place? I mean, is there a person on your team who is a problem and you've hesitated to do something about it? That you kind of let it coast and go on. You're now in this, what they call confirmation bias phase, or you're in this phase that, you can't stop the loss because you're like, well, I'm already down this road. I might as well just let it be what it's going to be. And then where did you not use your strategic mind to make a good decision. Like, you really need to take some time before the end of this year to be honest and assess the reality of your leadership. You got to check up from the neck up. Where did you hesitate and avoid conflict? Yes, I'm starting off talking to you about the hard stuff because you can't make a power move unless you're really, really honest around what you might need to do differently in the next year. This is all about setting the mindset that if you want your skill set to execute on those power moves, you got to have the right mindset first. So again, I'm going to ask you, where did you hesitate? Where did you avoid conflict? Where didn't you use your strategic thinking to get something done? You got to have a leadership reality check. That's the first power move that you need to make. So I'm going to have you ask yourself these questions, write down your answers, and then think very critically, if you had a chance to do it all over again, would you do it the same way? Because leaders can't avoid conflict forever. Sometimes you got to walk into that fire. So the question is, are you doing what you need to do to have the checkup from your neck up and create that leadership reality check? That's power move number one. Now here's power move number two. Throughout the year, your leadership brand shifted a little bit. You might have been defined by some moments, defined by some people, defined by some processes, defined by some things that are not really you. And so now you need to figure out how to reassert control of your leadership narrative, your leadership story. What is it that people see about you, say about you, and know about you? And are you going to let an event or two characterize who you are, or a person or two characterize who you are? Let me give you an example. I currently serve on multiple boards. I currently coach some executives. And as you know, I'm a dynamic executive speaker. I speak to leaders and teams about culture, about leadership, about power, and how to build a world-class workplace. That's what I do. I've been defined by that for a very long time. But I serve on some boards with a leader who's been trying to undermine my confidence. Not me, but my confidence by being disruptive in meetings. I call this person an organizational terrorist because their intent every meeting is to disrupt the meeting, to make me think that I can't run a meeting. Well, I know that I know how to run a meeting. I've been serving on boards since the late 1990s. I've served in chair roles. I've served as parliamentarian. I've served as treasurer. I've served in all kinds of roles on a board. So I know how to run a board meeting. But this person was intentionally trying to be disruptive to the process to disrupt my confidence. So I needed to think long and hard about how I'm going to reassert my leadership narrative and story in 2026. So it requires me to ask a few questions. Question number one is, how did I protect the organization? So I'm going to ask you the same question. How have you protected your organization this year? Did someone try to knock you off your leadership brand because you weren't doing your best to protect the organization? Here's a question number two. Where have I improved culture or improved outcomes? See, if you want to reassert your leadership story, your leadership narrative, you got to know where you win. So I can answer the question. For this board, I know how I protected the organization, the leadership decisions that I made that saved the organization time, money, and risk. And the second question is, how have I improved culture or outcomes? I absolutely know that I've improved the board culture. And we just achieved some big outcomes that I know that I was actively involved in. And so the outcomes are good, the culture's improved. I know what I've done. Here's the third question. Where did you use strategic discipline? That's a question that I'm asking myself. Where did I use strategic discipline? Well, I can answer, I use strategic discipline by not responding to the negativity that this person was trying to create in the organization. I chose not to respond to it. Sometimes that meant not responding to phone calls or not responding to text messages, or as they tried to disrupt the meeting, let them say their piece and then move on. I was strategic in how I respond. I was disciplined, not letting my emotions get the best of me. So I'm asking you the same questions is how are you going to reassert your leadership narrative? Are you a leader that adds value, that has impact, that makes a difference? Or are you being defined by one incident, one person, one outcome? So in order to reassert your leadership narrative, you got to know where you did good. You got to know what your success metrics were in the organization. Who have you helped? Who have you served? What outcomes did you shape? What impact did you deliver? And how were you disciplined in the process? That's where you need to focus your time, your energy before January. Reassert control of your leadership story. That is the second power move that you need to make. Here's the third power move. This is a really big one here. Is that you got to engineer Q1 of the next year, this year. So when I say engineer, you have to design and build what your first quarter is going to look like right now. So when I say define your first quarter, I'm going to ask you to write down the 3 initiatives that you must complete or execute in the first quarter of next year. 3, not 5, not 10, not 12, not 15, but the 3 things that you know you need to get done by the end of Q1 to build momentum to start the good year. So if you were the chief marketing officer, what campaign do you have to make sure is structured and launched in the beginning of the year? If you're the chief of operations, which area of your organization do you need to drive efficiency? And if you're the CEO, then your question is, or my question for you is the following. What 3 initiatives are going to decide whether the organization is on track to complete its next year above the mean? What are those 3 things? The 3 things you got to get done. Hires you might need to make, changes you might need to make, projects you might need to deliver on. I don't know what it is for you, but you need to be clear about the 3 initiatives that you need to focus on. I'm crystal clear about my 3 initiatives. I've been working on my end of the year executive blueprint. I've been working on this for like 2 weeks now. And so I'm real crystal clear about the things that I need to do in 2026 by March 31st to consider the year of success. I got to get these things done. Now, here's the 4th thing I'm going to give you in terms of the power move. I gave you the first 3. Here's the 4th power move. I'm going to ask you this question. Who do you need to be closer to in 2026? Now, when I say closer to, I'm not talking about, building a marriage relationship, and all of those things are incredibly important. But I'm asking you, if you need to make a power move in 2026, who are the 3 people you need to spend more time around? Who are the 3 people that you need to show up for as a leader? Who are the 3 people that you need to impact? I'm asking you, what strategic relationships you need to be in alignment with, in agreement with, in connection to in order for you to have your best year ever. I want you to write down 3 people who you need to say in 2026, I am going to get closer, more connected, more engaged with this person. Not just one, but I want you to come up with 3. Here's the reason why I want you to do this is because you need to increase your proximity to power. That if you want to make power moves, you got to be connected to powerful people, people who are of consequence and have an impact. You might need to serve this person. You might need to help this person, or you might just need to build a strategic relationship with them. But you can't build a relationship if you haven't defined who they are. You cannot go through your days, your weeks, your months, your year listless and saying, I'm just going to meet a bunch of different people this year. But you need to be intentional to make a beeline around who you need to meet. And let me give you a quick narrative about how I've done this and how by being strategic in this way, I made a power move that changed my life forever. The year was 2006. I had run for public office the very first time and I lost. I really did lose. Lost close, but I lost. And so I wanted to have a bigger impact to make sure I won in 2027. I didn't want to lose. So I did my reality check. I decided how I was going to reassert my leadership. I was engineering my Q1 out the gate. And I knew that there were some people that I needed to get closer to if I wanted to have some impact. Well, in 2006, in 2006, I read a book called The Audacity of Hope by Barack Obama. And when I read that book, I was blown away by his language, his leadership, the lessons that he'd learned, and the lessons that he shared in the book. And I shared with a group of friends of mine. I told them, I'm going to meet Barack Obama next year. Not only, and I'm going to meet with him, but I'm going to work for him. I said that to my friends. And they all thought I was crazy, thought I was hilarious because I didn't have any political connections. I didn't have any relationships. But I was engineering my Q1 by defining the person that I needed to be in proximity with, who I felt was in a power position to help me to be successful. And that name was Barack Obama. And you know what happened? In January of 2027, I got a chance to meet Barack Obama for the first time. And not just shake his hand and take a photo, meet him. I mean, ride in a car with him for 20 minutes and have a conversation about life, about our wives, about our children, and about whether he was actually going to run for president of the United States and how I could help him. So I share that with you in totality of the truth that you have to get in proximity to power if you want to have a bigger impact and gain momentum. So who are the three people that you need to gain momentum around, that you need to connect with, that you need to build a relationship? Write their names down. Doesn't matter who it is. It could be Will Smith or, Mike Tyson. If that is something that is going to help you to design your leadership year. But I would say it's not some celebrity or someone famous along those lines, but it's someone who can strategically help you to advance in your career. And that person might need you to serve them before you can be served. They might need you to help them before you can be helped. They might need you as a trusted ally. And so you have to become a trusted ally. But first, you got to know who they are. So I want you to make sure that you write down the three people who you need to be in proximity to power with. That is the fourth power move that you need to make before January. Again, design the year. Don't just drift into the next year. And here's the last one. This is a really important one. All of them are important, but I'm going to give you this one. I need you to write down all of the things that you're going to eliminate in 2026 that drain you. What commitments are you going to eliminate that drain you? So when I say commitments that drain you, we all got a project. We all got a board that we serve on. We all have people that are in our lives, things that we have committed ourselves to do that drain us, that don't give us energy, that really take us out of our highest and best use of ourselves. So I'm asking you this year to write down the 3 things that you're going to eliminate from your life, from your daily duties and tasks that drain you. Eliminate them. So for me, I'll give you this prime example. There is a board that I serve on that is draining me, and I'm going to eliminate myself from it. It's not that they're bad people. It's not that they're doing bad work, but I know that I'm not contributing at the level that the organization needs because it drains me to think about these things, to work on these things, and it's not bringing me joy. And it's okay to stop doing the things that don't bring you joy. It's completely okay to stop doing the things that don't bring you joy. So that is where I'm going to focus my attention, is eliminating that one thing that doesn't bring me joy. There's a second thing. I work with some organizations as a consultant, as an advisor, as a coach, that the organization is growing in a different direction than I've advised them to grow. The leadership team is not listening. And yes, I'm fine with taking their money and getting paid because I want to grow a business, but it ain't serving them and it ain't serving me. And I don't feel good about taking money from people who really don't want my help. And then when I say don't want my help, they ain't listening to the advice that I provide. And we keep dealing with the same challenges over and over and over and over again. I want to help people. I want to serve people. I have keen executive insights that are powerful and impactful. But if we're honest about it, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. And you end up more frustrated because you see the horse dying of thirst, but you can't force him to drink. And that's where I am with this particular client organization. So I'm not just going to quit on them, but I'm just going to let them know that we will not be renewing our agreement in 2026, after 2026. So I'm going to eliminate something before the end of the calendar year, because this one is actually up in June. So I'm going to eliminate it at the end of the year, or end of their fiscal year, if you will, June 30. So you got to think about, what are the commitments that you have that you need to eliminate? Is it a board? Is it an organization? Maybe it's an activity that ain't serving you, that's draining you. Like some people need to eliminate alcohol in their life. Like they don't, not binge drinkers, but they might drink a little bit too much and they feel horrible the next day. Or they feel like it's not allowing them to be their best self. I don't know what it is for you, but I want you to make a power move by eliminating those things, those commitments that drain you, that don't serve you. So that's what I got for you today. I'm going to repeat them. The 5 power moves you need to make before January if you want to build momentum to increase your impact, to get the money, the power, the respect that you deserve as a leader. You first got to have a leadership reality check. That's the first power move. Your second power move is to reassert your leadership story, your narrative. How are you defining who you are as a leader? The third thing you need to do is you need to engineer your first quarter now. You got to engineer the 3 things you're going to get done in Q1 now. Number 4, you got to decide who are the 3 people that you need to be close to in 2026. Who do you need to get to know? How do you gain more proximity to power? That's the operative word. Number 4 is about proximity to power. Who do you need to be in proximity with to accelerate and elevate your power? And number 5, what are you going to eliminate in terms of commitments that drain you? Those are the 5 power moves you need to make before January. If you make these power moves, you're going to put yourself in a position to have a monumental impact. So I want to thank you for watching. Please come back next week. I'm going to give you a great resource that's going to help you to execute everything that I'm talking about this month of December so you can have your best year ever as a mission-driven executive. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day.